how did it feel to really step in the global spotlight? I mean, after being in the industry for so many years.
When I did Black Panther, that was not my first international movie.
Oh, wow.
I have shot quite a number of international movies here.
Your awards and recognition, because you are a decorated actress. You've
Who I
won.
am. You know why I respect that award so much? Is because it's an accolade that I was given by my fellow Africans.
Yes.
Not just in South Africa.
Well, with Gomora for the younger generation, what would be your memorable scene then?
Why is it that it's always about men?
Welcome to an exciting episode of Cocktails and Blurbs. I'm your host, Lindwe Matladi, and I'm excited today that we are hosting a jewel of South African cinema, the incomparable Connie Chiume. She has been gracing our screen for over 40 years. Her career spans from theater to, gracing the legendary Black Panther. And she's just the most humbled person I've had the privilege to meet and host. I am so excited to have you, Mam Connie. You are a true legend and just, I don't even know how to describe you, just indescribable. And I'm just so honored to have you.
Thank you so much. It's quite a pleasure. I am honored to be here. You know, I never take anything for granted, including this one. It's really an honor that amongst all the people that you know in the industry, you decided to choose me today. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, thank you. You are amazing. I mean, your career is just, yeah, I mean, I'm curious, because if you've been in the industry for over 40 years and starting from theater, what actually, drove you to then move from theater to television and then eventually the big screen?
It just happened automatically. I would say theater was more of a school for me because during the times when we started acting, there was no drama school for Black people. We started during the days of apartheid. So our school was the theater, was the stage. So obviously, TV was also introduced to South Africa. And when it started, it was just TV1, which was just white people.
Yes.
And would be invited there just to be a background artist or to be a maid or gardener for us Black people. But ultimately, there was TV2 and 3. So now the scope of acting became broader instead of just theater yoto. Then opportunities of film also come in, and you find yourself moving from all these different genres of acting.
Oh, wow. I mean, I think just, for you, when we reached out to you, and your professionalism is just, it's something that to actually behold for somebody in the entertainment, industry where, we're known for egos, right? And it's and I'm sure you have some interesting stories, and that's why I think I'm like so impressed, but most inspired for somebody who's had the success that you've had to still be so kind, so approachable, so easy to work with. And I think that explains your longevity. And I'm sure you've got some interesting stories, like from Rhythm City. I mean, I grew up, well, I wouldn't say growing up, I was at university when it started, and now to, being in Gomora and all that. I mean, what are your most amusing, interesting stories that you feel like you could share, being in television?
I wouldn't say amusing, but I would say maybe some of the scenes that I remember. There are quite a couple of them, but let me just say Rhythm City, the one that comes to me quickly in my mind is a scene where my ex-boyfriend came. It was played by Owen Sejake. And Owen Sejake happened... I mean, in the story, Owen Sejake is the brother of my husband.
Okay.
So when I got pregnant through him, he ran away, disappeared.
Okay.
Then I was taken by the brother
Oh, wow. A true bold and a beautiful kind
Wangingenela.
of thing.
You know, they say ukungenela in isiZulu.
Yes.
Then now I'm settled. I've learned to love the husband that I have because of the way he was treating me. And then all of a sudden he comes back. And when he comes back, now my mind starts thinking back about the good times that I had with that one, you know. And then I'm almost tempted to be attracted to him and go back to him.
Yes.
So it was a very tricky kind of thing, and my husband is now miserable in the house because this guy is staying with us in the house.
Yeah.
Now, Mom Kate has started now making her face up.
Yeah, but
Uyageza, she wears tuna and all of that, something that she was not doing anymore. She was just selling her fat cakes.
Yeah.
Now the husband, this guy is back in the house. I'm giving him so much attention. And maybe because he was also not well until he goes to the hospital. A hospital, my dear, I go there like 3 times a day.
Ooh.
So my poor cop in the house was so, hurting.
Yes.
But ultimately, one of the days, I think Mamuketi came back to her senses, and she just went to that man and he said, you know what? I'm not that person that you left 20-something years ago. I am now this person. And you don't have a place in my life anymore. I have a husband who's been with me, who looked after me, and who looked after your supposed to be son.
Well, with Gomora for the younger generation, what would be your memorable scene then?
Why is it that it's always about men? Yeah, because even in Gomora...
We can't live without them, right? So
Yes. Even in Gomora, there was a time, they have my husband... How? There's a similarity there because the husband in Rhythm City, the husband left. And then again in Gomora. Actually, no, I never thought about it. In Gomora again, the husband actually left when I had a little baby, Upriti. He said he's going to buy cigarettes and he never came back. Azange boy. Ubuye much later, but when he came back here, and again, azange ngibe nesikhathi sakhe. But there was this man who came into my life, and he was treating me like a queen, and it made Usonto feel so young again, I felt like a teenager, the way she was behaving and things that she was doing. I think it was quite interesting. But the most interesting thing about Gomora is that it is very unusual for a woman my age to be in that kind of business. So Gomora was loved by people, and the real Mackenzie.
Yeah.
The real Mackenzie, they loved it. And sometimes they would give messages to my fellow actors to say, "Hi man, Msonto nimtshela ukuthi no man, masiyoginza senze kanjalo,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she must come to us simthiphe ukuthi makalanda imoto, uhamba kanjani, wenzani and all that. Uyamosha yena there and there. They took it for real. And I was like, no, it means I have to go for lessons.
Yeah.
But well, there are people who do that, people who do research, who write our stories. They do our research, it's their responsibility. But it was quite interesting, to be getting all those kind of messages, or even when I'm walking in the street, they say, Mamsonto, hey, Kokutsotsi, and what something which is not Connie Chiume. But I think for the people to appreciate it, it means I've really tried my best, to portray those roles.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I think, as I mentioned earlier, your professionalism. Oh, yes, we are on Cocktail and Black.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers. So I'm going to talk to you about your role, in the silver screen and in Black Panther. And how did it feel to really step in the global spotlight? After being in the industry for so many years. And I think it was also the time, I just feel like, for me, that moment, I feel like it's the moment where, the world go to see your talent. And I think also us as South Africans, where we actually started to appreciate you, which is something I hate with South Africans sometimes, is that we don't celebrate our own until somebody else, tells us, oh, this person is amazing. And then that's when we start going, yeah. But how did it feel for you to get you know, that role, but the sport, but also the response you got from the public, including meeting the Minister of Arts.
Okay, let me just start by saying, when I did Black Panther, that was not my first international movie.
Oh, wow.
I have shot quite a number of international movies here, but it was the first time for me to go and shoot a movie abroad. I have done theater abroad. I've performed Ipintombi, Mzumba, and other shows that I did internationally. But to shoot a movie, that was the first time I did when I went to shoot a Black Panther in Atlanta. I don't know how to describe it. I get goose pimples even now where I'm sitting.
Wow.
Because of the way they do things. They have big budgets.
Yes.
So a budget for them is not an issue. They just want to do the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and you could see from the quality of the movie, right? I mean, Black
Yes.
Panther, like the cinematic was just out of this world.
Exactly. So I left South Africa going there with confidence, knowing that I was auditioned and I was also chosen and I was cast by the director and the producers. They agreed that this is the person that we want. And I went there with all the confidence. So when I get there, I've already seen the names that I'm going to be working with.
Yes.
I'm not going there from an inferior position.
Yes.
I'm going there to represent my industry, South African industry. I'm going there to represent South Africa, and I'm going there to represent the continent. So no matter how small or big a role, I'm gonna do it my best. My role was the mining tribe elder. So which means it is a very big role, even though it was not written that much.
Yes.
But it's a big role because the mining tribe elder is one of the people that are consulted if decisions have to be made in Wakanda. So, and when I arrived there, already the director recognized me, he knew me. I went to set for the first time. I met such lovely people. I didn't see any egos. I didn't see any diva, It was such a beautiful spirit that
And
prevailed
professionalism,
there.
yeah.
Yes, that prevailed there. And you just had this, freedom to do the best that you can. And that's exactly what I did. I said, I'm going there as a mining tribe elder. I want to make sure that when the camera comes, it will find me being the mining tribe elder.
Wow.
And fortunately, because you are working with such professional people, it was hot. And we would do another thing about them, they will do one scene for the whole day. For the whole
I've
day,
been to
just
Atlanta
one.
in summer, yo.
So they will just be doing one scene for the whole day and you'll be repeating and repeating the same thing. But even when you want to get tired, you look at the other actors there and you find them, they're still in character and you're like, eating is pagamisa.
Yeah.
I can't sleep, I have to be, I have to be up. So it was really, really wonderful being on that set. Very, very, very nice. Working with almost 500 people on the same set where professionalism prevails. Everybody knows their job. There's that business acumen. Umuntu no muntu is doing what they're supposed to do. There isn't anyone uktua. Hey, by the way, where is Lindy? Hey, no, we don't know. Everybody's doing what they need to do.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, from the costume designer to makeup to hair, when you enter, mawufika and when you arrive, when you are like 10 minutes away from set, already the driver is telling someone on set that I'm about 10 minutes to arrive with talent. By the time you arrive, someone is already waiting for you. They usher you to your trailer. Not that you don't know where your trailer is, you know exactly
You
where
know
it is.
where you're supposed to be,
Maria
yeah.
Kapiwa, ufakwa lapha, you stay there. When it's time to make up, bayaglanda. It was such a wonderful feeling, to be treated so special.
Yeah,
That is why you feel like, you know what, I must just do my best here because of the way I'm treated financially, respect-wise and otherwise.
And really, I mean, treated as the legend that you are, because you are a legend and you've been around and your work speaks for itself. And I think, as I mentioned, I'm going to keep mentioning it, your professionalism and your humility.
Thank you.
It's really like,
Thanks.
something to behold. And I want to talk about, and especially given your awards and recognition, because you are a decorated actress. You've
I
won.
am.
You are. You are a Christmas tree when it comes to your awards. We could put them on a Christmas tree and it would be pride. But which award meant the most to you?
I think the very first award that I received, which was the Artist Award from the SABC then, that's the one that I would say said something to me, because it was the very first award that I received. To say, Ganti people notice, Ganti South Africa can see,
Yeah.
Ganti the work that I'm doing is appreciated. Yeah, that's the first one that I received that says a lot. Really, really says a lot to me. Not that Amanya are not saying anything. All of them are very, very important to me. But that one, because it was the very, very first one that I received, I value it so much.
Yes.
And then there's one that I just received recently.
Yes.
3 weeks ago, I've just come back from Burkina Faso.
Oh, wow.
And I was presented with a lifetime award.
Oh,
They call it the Sotugi Awards. Yes.
Wow.
Sotugi Lifetime Award. You know why I respect that award so much? Is because it's an accolade that I was given by my fellow Africans.
Yes.
Not just in South Africa.
Yes.
Because there, it's a continental award. So people came from all over Africa.
Yeah.
So when I received that award, I don't know, I felt some kind of warmth. And I was like almost emotional to say, man, I have also received some awards in America,
Yes, yes.
But this one, I really, really felt like it's so special for me. It's bringing us together as creatives of the continent,
Yes.
to recognize each other and to start, collaborating with each other more. And you don't realize, Guti, even if you are here, there are people somewhere around the continent who can see you.
Yes.
So
yes.
it really said a lot to me, that one too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, also just showing that you are a daughter of the soil, right?
Yes.
And when you go out, when you are in Wakanda, you are not just representing South Africa, you are representing
The
Africa,
continent, yes.
the continent. But also, I think, black people, I think that was the first action movie, I think, that I think as Africans or even people of color, that we resonated, because that cast was completely, majority black. So
Yes.
that's why, as black people, felt like, all of us, we want Wakanda. I remember we were even tweeting, starting to go, if we go to Wakanda, this one, we don't want them there. This one, was like...
Yeah, it was such a pleasure. Black Panther brought something to us. It actually ignited and reminded us of who we are. Not that
Yeah.
we don't know who we are.
Yeah.
But, for the first time we saw a superhero that looks like us.
Exactly,
For the first time we saw an Africa that had governance, which could do things for themselves,
Yes.
which was rich, and they knew what to do with their resources, with that vibranium,
Yes.
And we saw women that are leaders who know how to lead and all that, and something that has never happened before.
Yeah.
And one of the producers said one day when he was interviewed that, when he was young, he used to go and watch these movies, and every time the superheroes were white. And from childhood, he was dreaming of, one day when I grow up, I'm going to make sure that I love film, and one day when I'm doing a film, I'm going to make sure that I create a black superhero.
Yeah.
And that was his dream, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I know
you
that.
know? Yes.
Yeah.
And another thing that was good about it is that there were a lot of people from the diaspora, from Africa, from the islands, from the United States,
Yes.
Africans from everywhere, even from Europe. So it was just composed of all of us, as you said, people
Yes.
of color from everywhere. So it's something that we're very proud of, and we're working with a very understanding, beautiful, talented young director, Orion Kugler, who would listen to you if you have an opinion or you want to suggest something and everything. That is why we also had isiXhosa there.
Yes.
Because Uput John, one day he was there on set and he was talking to his subjects. And he said, man, why am I speaking English? Because I'm in Wakanda. You know?
Yeah. There
And
must be-
Ryan said, okay, what language do you think you would speak? And he said, no, man, maybe because I'm Xhosa and that's the language that I know. How about isiXhosa? And Ryan said, oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, let's
Yeah.
talk isiXhosa. And then I remember there was a lot of criticism after that. When the movie came out, ukuthi, no, but this is not isiXhosa. Hey, labantu abakhuluma isiXhosa. Man, I was like, why aren't we happy that
Yeah.
language yethu, culture yethu, there were Basotho there,
Yes.
there were all these cultures there too, there were our musicians there. Why don't we appreciate that out of all these countries that are in the continent, in South Africa,
Was the
it was
one.
like
Yeah.
dominating.
Exactly.
You know, and where is Wakanda anyway?
You
It's
know,
a fictional
it's a
country.
fictional country,
Yes.
yeah.
So if they are not speaking isiXhosa sase Western Cape or sase Eastern Cape, then less isiXhosa sikhulunywa la, esase Wakanda.
Exactly. Yeah, sis,
Yeah,
sis of the
access
Eastern
sase
Cape.
Eastern Cape.
Beyond the script, I mean, you are, you know, a woman who does a lot of things to support young people, you know, up and coming. And I want you to talk to us about your foundation, because I feel like, you know, that's something that would, you know, represent your heart, right?
Yes.
You know, what you want to share and give birth. And I think sometimes I always feel like when the work we do that we get paid for, I always say, for me, I've got two jobs. One that pays my bills and one that feeds my soul. And then I think as I want to talk about what feeds your soul, talk to me about your foundation.
I like
and why
what you
started
just
it.
said, you know, when you say something that talks to my soul. Yes, it talks to my soul when I see myself also going out there, you know, to uplift people, to motivate them. Because sometimes when they see us on TV, they think we never went through hardships. Everything just came, Jay.
Yeah.
They don't know that, like when they're looking at Connie Chiume, they are looking at an innocent girl who was born in the Free State in Welkom, you know, and during that time, apartheid, where everything looked like so remote.
Yeah.
I mean, during those days, Gauteng, Johannesburg was far, you know.
Yes.
You would travel the whole night in a train to come to Johannesburg. And we would see Abu Bra Gibson Kente, Bosem Mangwane and all that, and you would just envy. But deep down in your heart, you'd say, you know what, one day. And one day,
is
you don't
one
even
day.
know. you
Yeah.
know. We are Ishonje. That is why they say, you know, sometimes when you want something, concentrate on it, call it on from the universe. Speak to God about it. Because if He has wired you that way,
Yeah.
you will get there.
Yeah.
So mina as a child, bengicula estupini githi, you know, and I would tell my parents, you know, mina one day ngizoya e-England. That time England was the town. I don't know why ama-town wama-colonizers wethu and the countries of our colonizers were the countries. But I always told them, one day ngizoya England. I
yeah.
didn't know how, but it's something that I uttered now and then,
Yes.
now and
Yeah.
then, and I uttered. And, you know, life is not easy. Sometimes it will throw you into thorns.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be gulaoma thorn forever. So sometimes we want to go out there and tell people, Guti, you might be going through certain situations right now. But that's not what you've been called for, la emhlabeni.
Yeah.
All of us, we came here with a mandate from our Creator.
Yeah.
So, uzokusiza, even if you fall into whatever situations, but he will take you to the mandate that He has called you to. Ultimately, now do your part, and God will also do their part. So I do those motivations. I also, you know, explain to them about the industry, because industry too is beautiful, it's exciting, but it can be very, very frustrating.
Yeah.
Why? Because we are freelancers, my dear.
Yeah.
We are freelancers for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So you have to, look after yourself very well. And now lately there's this thing called social media, which is very good, but it can be very bad.
Yeah.
Watch what you are saying on social media,
Yeah.
what you are posting. Because every time I go audition, I mean, even for any other job, I'm sure now lately,
Yes.
they will go to your social
That's the
media
first thing we
and
check,
see
yeah.
the type of person you are.
Are you
So I'm
controversial?
doing
Are you
those things, I
respectable?
talk to them. Ngiyabakhulisa. Not that they should be like me, but I just want to make them aware gore, there are certain things which are like this. Then the latest thing that I started doing this year with my foundation was to
What's the name of your foundation?
the Connie Chiume Foundation.
Yes.
Yes, the Connie Chiume Foundation. I have been doing those workshops, the theater and all of that. But
Yeah.
I said, there are so many of us who are doing workshops already. What is it that is different that I can do? Because I can see our industry is becoming smaller and
Yes.
opportunities are becoming less. Why don't I go where I normally go for other people? The festivals in America, they always call me. They ask me to coordinate South African creatives to go and perform there, to go and do things there, to go and sell crafts there, to go and do stuff. So I thought, no, man, this time I'm doing it through the Connie Chiume Foundation. So with the help of the Department of Arts or Sports, Arts and Culture, I was able to go this year. My intention was to take 100 people, but unfortunately, financially, I
Yeah,
couldn't.
yeah,
But
budget.
I pray to God and I call it to the universe now. Just from going there to introduce the Connie Chiume Foundation and what I want to do,
Yes.
already there are projects that are going to happen very soon, just from that. So you can imagine if I had taken people with me who would go there and display their works, whether it's visual arts, whether it's craft, whether it's music. Like Amapiano Konamanje, they are so big in America.
Everywhere, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they are big. I
Yeah.
mean, you take this talent there so that, we pray and it's every time say to God, can you enlarge our spaces?
Yes.
So I thought,
Yeah,
okay, this
enlarge
is my
our
part.
territory, yeah.
This is my part of enlarging the space of the creative industry of South Africa.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing now, and I'm hoping that next year when I do it again, I've already started working on it, that things are gonna be much better than what it was this year.
Wow. No, that's really inspirational. I want to ask you about, the power of storytelling, right? And I mean, you talked about also, I think when you were speaking about the importance of supporting the next generation, and I think since we live in an industry where I think, or rather a culture where we want to be seen to be, as successful than we really are. And I think social media, ngithi, if you see you on TV, you're a celebrity, and people always assume ukuthi rich, rich and famous. And we know ukuthi the industry in this country doesn't always work like that. You could be famous, but without a bag.
Yeah,
And how do you, the longevity is really what is important is how you, I would say, carry yourself when you get opportunities. And, like first thing, like what happened today, which I noticed that when you said you'll be here at 8 o'clock, you were here at 8 o'clock. When you say, you know what I mean?
It's
Those
discipline.
is the discipline and as well as, that it's not just respecting your craft, but you
Yes.
respect yourself and respect the people that
Exactly.
you're working with. How do you think stories in film and television can impact society? Why is also important for the stories that we tell as Black people about who we are, for them to be positive? Because that's why when we talk about Wakanda, it's so inspirational, because we saw ourselves for the first time, not as gangsters, not as prostitutes, not as thieves, but as you said, even in government, not as, African governments are always seen as corrupt, but we saw an African country that was actually well run, that
Yes.
had no scandal, that, yeah.
I wish we could have more of those kind of stories, because like already you've said it, stories that are showing the positive side of us, because it seems like now lately the stories that we see are stories of corruption, of betrayal, gangsterism and all of that, and those things subconsciously they sit in our minds, especially for the young people.
Yeah.
So the power of storytelling is phenomenal. We have to try and write stories that are going to build us as a country.
This is a very difficult, because for me, when people ask me about this, I never know how to answer it. It's like your legacy. How do you want to be remembered? And also, how do you define your legacy so far? I mean, I've listened to you. I think, what came out is your faith. You spoke about that, and also be able to speak your dreams into life. And it's also scriptural, right? Because the Bible says, write your dreams, write your plans and make it, and make it clear. So which means God wants it to be clear. And even when there's a scripture when it talks about, in Jeremiah 29:11, the one that you always call, when God said, I know the plans I have for you, that are to prosper you. But what I like is at the end, it says to give you your expected end, which means you need to know what ngifuna ukuphelelaphi. So God doesn't say, I'm going to tell you what to become. But he wants also to say, this is what, because whatever dream we have, I do believe that it comes from above. God has predestined our lives, but he also wants us to be clear and say, once you understand who you are, and then you speak it to life, right? So how, in terms of your legacy, what has it been so far? And also how do you want to be remembered?
You know what, Lindy, for me, that's the question I'm not able to answer, because I know that I have impacted people differently. I have impacted you this way. I have impacted somebody in Ganje. Everybody who knows me in a different way.
Yes.
But when it comes to my career, like I say now, I'm trying to enlarge spaces for fellow creatives that are existing now and for the future. That's what I'm doing now. So for me, it's very difficult to say, ngifuna ukuthi abantu bangikhumbule kanje, because there are a lot of things that I'm doing.
Yes.
So what I normally say to people when they ask me that kind of question is that I want people to remember me the way I have impacted them.
So my final question, this has been so exciting. I wish we could just talk forever. As we wound down, tell me, how does Connie, relax? How do you just, have your hair down and put in your tafleni? Like, what drinks? What will be, your choice of drink, and why? I want the story behind it. Because everything, my favorite drink is Coke. Something happened one day we put Coke. So, what's your favorite
that's
drink?
another very difficult question, because it depends on the mood sometimes, what you have. It depends on the mood. Like right now, this wonderful drink, I don't know how you knew that watermelon is one of my favorite fruit. No, you know what? When I'm relaxing, I'm in a relaxed mood, depending where I am. It could be at home, it could be in a spa, it could be in a garden like this one. It's so nice to just lie down and let your hair loose and just listen to the sound of the birds, with a nice margarita.
Ooh.
Or just a nice glass of red wine.
Ikuthi
kancane.
Ufudumale
Because
emoyeni.
I mean, kule ages kuyo asiphuzela ukudakwa. We just want to, like you said, relax.
Yeah.
So things like those sometimes, and sometimes it's just water.
Yeah.
You just say, okay, God created this, the best drink emhlabeni, le esidelelayo. But it's the best one. Sometimes you just relax with a glass of water. That's why I said, it depends on the mood. Ukuthi rest yakho that time. We bona phi.
Yeah.
We bona ku spa, we bona a beach, we bona endlini in your special spot. So ihambelana ne drink yakhona.
Wow.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Sometimes it could be a cup of tea.
Yes.
You could put your legs on a table with a nice cup of tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much. It's been so exciting and inspirational to talk to you. And I think for me, as I said, one thing that I'm going to take with me is, no matter how successful you are, being respectful of people shows Ubuntu, and also the professionalism that you have shown, and also your faith, because I think it's so important to know who you are, one. Two, to know where you're going. And the important in also speaking what you want to become. Speak your dreams to the universe. Say, this is what I want to become. And sometimes, even if there could be people who will tell you, I'm sure when you're saying, London, they'll be like, when I was in London, you go so and those will always be there. And it's so important to say, I know who I am, because I do believe, even the Bible says, what we speak. So always speak positive about yourself, and
the power of the tongue.
The power of the tongue, and make sure because you have lived it now. It may not have been quicker, because that's another thing, is that I'm a quick fix. Lento itola masinya also phela as quickly.
Exactly.
And sometimes when it takes time, when the dreams takes time,
you
appreciate them more, and it also lasts. It also lasts, because what I've learned, when you learn to be patient, there's something with patience that teaches you humility. The most important time for growth is in the waiting. When you say, you know what, you can pray to God and say, this is what I want. And as you work towards your goal, that part of waiting is like, it's the desert, it's the driest,
That's where you are being built.
That's where you are being built. And when you get at the pinnacle of your career and umile on top of the mountain, then you remember Gutubuyapi, and you want to make sure
appreciate it more, and you respect it more.
Yeah, and you send down the ladder, and which is what you're doing. You're like,
I think another thing, Lindiwe, is because we were made during the days when there were no such things as celebrity. Not that people shouldn't be celebrated. But now when we started in this industry, there wasn't anything called celebrity. So that thing, what you are saying, it's humility now. We got into it because we love it, and that's how we are wired. We didn't get into it because we wanted to be famous.
The glory.
So that is why some of us were able to stay for a very long time. Because I normally also tell them that, if you come into this industry because you want to be famous, then definitely the industry is not for you.
Yeah.
Because you might be famous today, kusasa iyaphela Gomora. You are in between. You were used to being called to events, to awards, to what have you. Immediately when you are not on the screen anymore, people forget you.
No one invites
The next thing
you.
awusabizwa kuleza zinto ezikuchazayo lezana. Zokuthi hey bengikuphi, hey I was in this event.
Guys, this has been an amazing conversations. I can see people are already showing me iskhathi. Abantu abanganayo lento. Ugobo. So one thing I want you to remember is you are who you say you are. If there's one thing you can take from this conversation with Umam Connie, you are who you say you are. So speak positively about yourself. Even when things are not working out, remember who you are. And if you've watched Simba, remember who you are. So remember who you are, because that is what is going to take you, and that's what is going to sustain you. That's what is going to encourage you even when there's nobody to encourage you.